They broke you. 2025 is your time to rebuild everything you were torn apart, not just hurt, broken. They shattered your self-worth. They laughed when you fell. They abandoned you when you were drowning. Life didn't just test you. It ripped you wide open and spit on your pride. But here's the truth. No one is coming to rebuild you. That's your job. 2025 isn't just another year. It's not another lap around the sun. It's the year you crawl out of the wreckage. It's the year you weld the steel inside your spine. It's the year you stop explaining your pain and start turning it into purpose. Let them doubt. Let them sleep. Let them scroll. Well, they do nothing. You rebuild everything. The world doesn't give second chances, but the battlefield does. And you're still breathing, which means the war isn't over. This time you rise, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. You don't need apologies. You don't need validation. What you need is discipline. What you need is suffering. What you need is relentless work in the shadows when no one's clapping. They broke you. Good. That means you're still alive. That means you're rebuildable. But don't rebuild what was lost. Build what they've never seen before. In 2025, you don't come back as the same version. You come back with fire in your gut, silence in your soul, and fury in your footsteps. Let's get it. You can't rebuild what you refuse to admit, and that's the cold truth. Most people walk around like everything's fine. Fake smiles, shallow conversations, and highlight reels on social media. But deep down, they're bleeding. Their confidence is gone. Their discipline is shattered. And instead of facing the wreckage, they decorate it. They deny the pain, cover it with distractions, or drown it in excuses. But denial is weakness disguised as strength. The first real move in 2025 is this, and say the words no one else has the guts to say, I am. You got knocked down. So what? Welcome to life. You trusted someone and you gave everything to something, a job, a relationship, a goal, and it fell apart. You spent years building an identity, and now all that's left is rubble. Don't hide from that. Wear the scars like armor, not shame. That wound you've been covering up, tear the bandage off. Let it bleed. Let it hurt. Let it remind you that you're still here, still alive, still capable of fighting back. The moment that you were broken is the moment you regain your power to rebuild. Hiding your pain doesn't make you strong. It just delays your healing. You weren't built to be perfect. You were built to endure, adapt, and overcome. If you keep pretending like nothing ever touched you, you'll never grow. You'll just rot in silence. Most people would rather stay in their comfort zone of denial than confront the war inside them. Don't be like them. Be the one who steps into the fire voluntarily. Be the one who walks into the darkness to drag his broken pieces into the light. That's where the real transformation begins. Not in victory, but in brutal honesty. You can't rebuild a house if you keep pretending the foundation didn't crack. Some of you are still trying to live like you're whole when everything inside you is screaming otherwise. That's why you're exhausted. That's why nothing feels real. That's why you keep quitting on yourself. You're carrying the weight of a false image. You're trying to act like you're okay when you're not. Drop the act. Not for the world, for you. Stop confronting you were broken. That's the truth. But guess what? That's also your opportunity. Because once you accept that you've been broken, you strip away the lies. And when the lies are gone, all that's left is raw truth. And truth is the only material strong enough to rebuild a warrior, not motivation, not hype, not feel good phrases. Truth. The truth that you were lazy. The truth that you were soft. The truth that you let your standards slip. The truth that you tolerated things you should have walked away from. Accepting that truth won't feel good. It's not supposed to. It'll burn like acid on your pride. But pain is the cost of access to power. You can't heal what you don't admit exists. And you can't rise until you acknowledge the fall. So stop pretending. Stop escaping into fantasy. Stop blaming everyone else. Starts with this uncomfortable, brutal, powerful step, admitting the break. Say it out loud. Own every crack, every failure, every scar. 0. This is your foundation. From here, you don't need validation. You need work. But none of that begins until you drop the act and face your broken self head on. That's the only way to come back stronger. Pain isn't your enemy. It's your instruction manual. Every tear, every betrayal, every sleepless night has something to teach you if you're willing to listen. The problem is most people run from pain. They numb it with distraction, deny it with fake positivity, or bury it so deep it turns into bitterness. But the truth is this: the most powerful version of you is buried underneath that pain. If you want to rise, you've got to be willing to dig. That means facing every single thing that hurt you. Pain is the proof that something mattered. And what mattered can be used to build something unstoppable. If you stop running from it, you've been through hell. Good. Now use it. Use the loneliness, the failure, the loss, not as excuses, but as energy. Let that heartbreak fuel your early mornings. Let that betrayal power your workouts. Let every ounce of rejection become the very bricks you stack to build the next version of you. People say, don't dwell in the past. That's weak. The past is where the pain lives, and pain is your raw material. You don't dwell. You study, dissect. You extract fuel from every scar. You don't run from pain. You convert it. Pain is the most honest coach you'll ever have. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't sugarcoat the truth. It shows up when you've gone soft, when you've slipped, when you've broken your word. It's there to remind you of who you're not supposed to be. And if you're smart, if you're serious, if you actually want to rebuild in 2025, then you'll use it as a compass. That sting you feel, that ache, that burn in your soul, that's not weakness. That's the map. Follow it. It's pointing you toward everything you're supposed to face, everything you're supposed to fight through. Most people get hurt and fold. They make pain their prison. You need to make it your blueprint. Every time someone doubted you, write it down. Every time you failed, document it. Every time life spit in your face, remember that moment. Not to wallow in it, but to weaponize it. Stack it up. Use it to build your standards, your routine, your mission. Rebuilding isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about building something so strong that what broke you before can never break you again. Your next level is built on top of your last defeat. You've got two choices with pain. Let it destroy you or let it design you. There's no third option. Stop waiting for the pain to pass. It's not going away. Pain isn't a storm. It's the fire that forges you. You either step into it willingly or spend your life being chased by it. Get comfortable walking straight into what hurts. If waking up early hurts, do it more. If holding discipline hurts, double down. If facing your trauma hurts, dig deeper. That pain is the exact pressure that builds the muscle. But in your mind, this year, pain isn't the obstacle. It's the blueprint. It's the exact framework your new life will be built on. The lessons, the grind, it's all in the pain. That's where the answers are. Not in comfort, not in ease, not in fake positivity. The real growth, the real strength, the unbreakable version of you, it's on the other side of that pain you've been avoiding. So flip the switch. Look your pain dead in the eye and say, show me the way, because you're not running anymore. You're building. And pain is the tool you'll use to carve yourself into something legendary. You don't need to post about your grind. You don't need to announce your comeback. You don't need validation from people who wouldn't lift a finger to help you rebuild. Too many people are addicted to being seen, addicted to claps, likes, attention. But attention won't save you. It won't fix your pain. It won't get you out of the hole you're in. What will? Silence and savage execution. If you're serious about rebuilding in 2025, you need to become invisible. Not because you're hiding, but because you're too focused to speak. Social media has made people think every move needs an audience. That's garbage. The real ones don't train for applause. They train for war. While the world is busy trying to look the part, you're in the shadows becoming the part. When you suffer in silence, you develop mental toughness nobody can measure. When you stop explaining your vision to people who don't get it, you free yourself to actually build it. Nobody needs to see your reps, your early mornings, your tears, or your battles. Those are sacred. They belong to you. That pain belongs to the foundation, not to the public. Rebuilding in silence means you wake up before the world and get to work without telling a soul. You hit your workouts. You grind at your goals. You study when everyone else is sleeping. And you do it for you. Not for a round of applause. Not to impress anybody. But because you've tasted rock bottom and you never want to be there again. You're not here to entertain. You're here to evolve. And evolution doesn't need a narrator. It needs a warrior who's willing to bleed behind closed doors until the results can't be ignored. The problem with announcing your plans is this: the dopamine you're supposed to earn from results, you start getting from attention. You talk about your goals and you get praised just for saying them, but you haven't done anything. That false sense of achievement makes you soft. It makes you slow. That's why most people never follow through. They burn out after the announcement. But when you stay quiet, when you keep your head down and grind in silence, you don't waste that energy. You store it. You pour it into every set, every rep, every step. You let your work speak when the time is right. Silence keeps you dangerous. It makes you unpredictable. Nobody sees you coming. While everyone's watching each other online, flexing for clout, you're building a version of yourself they'll never recognize. And by the time they do, it's too late. You're already 10 miles ahead. Already bulletproof. Already locked in. Silence is your weapon. Discipline is your fuel. The fewer people know about your process, the less noise you invite. And when there's no noise, there's clarity. You move different when you're not performing. You're becoming. You don't need to convince the world of anything. You're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to prove yourself right. And the best way to do that is to disappear into your own grind and come back unrecognizable. No speeches, no declarations, just quiet suffering, silent progress, and loud results. You're not the same person who got broken. But you don't need to tell them that. You show them not with words, with fire in your eyes and steel in your results. That's the kind of transformation that only happens in the dark. You want to rebuild your life in 2025, then stop waiting to feel like it. Stop chasing motivation. Stop depending on moods. That's how weak people live, only moving when life feels right. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline doesn't need inspiration, doesn't need good weather, a full night's sleep, or perfect circumstances. Discipline wakes up and gets the job done regardless. It's the difference between starting strong and finishing stronger. And until discipline becomes your baseline, you're going to keep falling into the same pit you crawled out of. Discipline is doing what has to be done even when you're dead tired, mentally drained, or emotionally wrecked. It's waking up at 5 a.m. when your body says no. It's hitting your workout when your mind screams for comfort. It's following through on your plan when nobody's watching. It's silence, sacrifice, repetition, and a relentless grind that becomes your identity. You don't rise from rock bottom by being gentle with yourself. You rise by beating your weakness into something with consistent action. Day after day, no matter what. People think talent builds empires. They think passion rebuilds lives. No, discipline does. Talent gets lazy, passion fades. But discipline shows up every damn day. What mood you're in. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't need approval. Discipline doesn't care if you're tired, heartbroken, or overwhelmed. It only asks one question. Did you do what you said you were going to do? If the answer is no, then you're still negotiating with your weakness. If the answer is yes, then you're laying bricks, unshakable, unbreakable, one by one. Rebuilding your life isn't one big, glorious act. It's 10,000 small, boring, painful ones. It's saying no. When everyone else is saying yes, it's going to the gym when your legs feel like concrete. It's sticking to your plan when life punches you in the gut. Nobody claps for discipline. There's no trophy for consistency. That's why so few people stick with it. But those who do, they become dangerous. They become untouchable. Because when life hits them, they don't fold. They fire back with routine, focus, and grit. If your rebuild is built on motivation, it's already collapsing. If it's built on how you feel, it's already fragile. But if it's built on discipline, that daily, cold, ruthless commitment, then nothing can break it. Discipline is what you fall back on when everything else is chaos. It's what gets you out of bed when your mind tells you to quit. It's the voice inside that doesn't scream. It whispers, do it anyway. No matter how far you've fallen, no matter how broken you've been. If you build your foundation on discipline, you become unstoppable. So stop waiting for the right moment. Stop overthinking. Stop stalling. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need a sign. You need to act. One small act of discipline, repeated with ruthless consistency, is more powerful than 1,000 empty promises. That's the brick and mortar of your rebuild. Not hype. Not noise. Just discipline. The most unglamorous, unrelenting force on earth, and the one that will carry you all the way through 2025 if you let it. You can't build a new life with an old mindset. That's like trying to construct a fortress on a foundation made of sand. You want to rebuild in 2025. Then you need to tear out every weak, soft, broken thought living in your head. Because the truth is, The same thinking that got you broken won't get you rebuilt. It's time to rewire your mind like a machine, and that process starts with brutal honesty and daily discipline. You can't live like a victim and expect to rise like a warrior. You have to kill the version of yourself that let it all fall apart. Most people never change because they try to fix the external first. They want to change their job, their environment, their body, but they never upgrade the operating system in their mind. And then they wonder why they keep slipping, quitting, and going back to square one. You don't have a discipline problem. You have a thinking problem. You've been programmed for easy, for comfort, for quitting when things get hard. You need to rip that software out and replace it with the truth. Nobody's coming. It's all on you. You're not owed anything. You earn everything through effort, pain, and repetition. Rewiring your mind means creating a new default setting, one that doesn't negotiate with weakness. That means no more talking yourself out of hard work. No more hitting snooze. No more saying, I'll start tomorrow. You catch those weak thoughts and you kill them instantly. You replace, I'm tired, with going. You replace, I can't, with I must. You replace, I fail, with I'm learning. You retrain your brain to see resistance not as an obstacle, but as a signal that you're doing the right thing. The path of most resistance is the one that builds the strongest version of you. Here's the hard part. This isn't a one-time shift. It's daily warfare. Every day your old programming is waiting to drag you back to the comfort zone. Every day that voice in your head will tell you to take it easy, to stay safe, to stay broken. That's why you've got to attack your thoughts before they attack your journal. Reflect. Speak to yourself with force. Meditate in pain. Visualize the hardest version of you and then make decisions from his mindset, not the broken one that cracked under pressure last year. You must become your own drill sergeant. Nobody else is going to do this work for you. You got to be the one who says no when everyone else says yes. You've got to be the one who speaks life into yourself when no one believes in you. Rewiring your mind means building mental armor that doesn't crack under stress, under fear, under failure. When life starts throwing punches again, and your old self would have folded, but the new you, the rewired you, he smiles at the chaos. He thrives in it. He's been trained for it. This is the truth. Most people will never accept you don't need a better life. You need a better mindset. The broken life is just the byproduct of a broken mental framework. You can grind all day, but if your mind isn't locked in, you'll sabotage yourself again. So before you chase the goals, before you rebuild the career, the body, the reputation, rewire the mind. That's the control center. That's the motherboard. That's where the rebuild really begins. Not outside, but deep inside your own skull. Look, they broke you. Life hit you with everything it had. Maybe it was betrayal. Maybe it was failure. Maybe it was years of pain that nobody left you in the dirt. They forgot about you. They doubted you. They gave up on you like you were nothing. Good, let them. Because while they forgot, you remembered. You remembered what it felt like to have nothing but grit and breath in your lungs. You remembered how far you've fallen. And now you're done being broken. Now you're done explaining your pain. Now it's time to build something that can't be broken. This is your year. This is your redemption. Want to. This is your silence but storm kind of year. But don't expect to be easy. Nobody's going to carry you. No one's showing up with a plan. There are no shortcuts. No one's coming to make it happen for you. It's going to be lonely. And it's going to be brutal. And it's going to hurt like hell. But that's the price of greatness. That's the cost of transformation. Stay broken. Keep telling the same story about how hard it was? Or are you going to rewrite the whole damn story? Brick by brick, by rep day, by painful day. Rebuild in the dark. Rebuild in the cold. Rebuild while everyone else is sleeping, doubting, laughing, or quitting. Let them sleep. You train, let them scroll. You suffer. Let them talk. You grind. And when 2025 ends, don't be the one still making excuses. Be the one who rebuilt everything, stronger, smarter, harder, hungrier.